Hello, I'm Regina Botras, and this is Backstage, where we talk with the who's who on stage, in dance, comedy, and performing arts, speaking with the leading theatre makers of our times and how they came to the stage and what drives them and inspires them. I'm joined by Mitchell Butel, STC, Sydney Theatre Company's Artistic Director and four-time Helpman Award winner and part of the normal, or one of the actors in The Normal Heart, which is on at Sydney Theatre Company in the Drama Theatre at the Opera House. Here to talk about this production, set in the early 80s in New York during the AIDS pandemic or epidemic. Welcome to Stages, Mitchell.
Thank you so much, Regina. Lovely to be here.
So, who are the characters? Who are the cast of characters in New York at this very big time
Intense
in our
time.
history?
That's right. As you say, the play is by the wonderful Larry Kramer. Is set between the years of 1981 and 1985, from the first recorded cases of this mysterious, gay plague in New York, that was covered in the New York Times, and it follows a community of friends who later become activists who are seeking to kind of combat government and media inaction in the face of this what becomes an epidemic. And the play is very autobiographical about Larry Kramer's life. So the character I'm playing is Ned Weeks, who's very much based on Larry, and pretty much all the other characters are based on real life figures as well. Larry's friends who became adversaries. Dr. Emma Bruckner, who's based on Dr. Linda Lauberstein, who was one of the key kind of early AIDS doctors in New York. And it's a great play. It's specifically about the crisis, but it's about a community, and how it deals with something like this, how it galvanizes, but also the problems within that of when people have different views of how to protest, how to be activists, how loud should you be, should you work from the inside or should you be militant, and you know issues I think that are still very kind of resonant and relevant today. So it's a great honor to do it, and audiences are loving the show. So it's a great privilege to be there at the Drama Theatre.
And Ned or Kramer your character is a writer. What kind of writer?
Based on Larry Kramer again too. I keep saying Barry. Larry had written novels. He wrote a novel called Faggots, which was a very pre-AIDS, very seminal book for people. He also was the screenwriter of a terrible movie called Lost Horizons, which became a big hit and actually paid for a lot of his life, but he was very embarrassed about that. And and then started to write plays as well, like The Normal Heart. And then there's a sequel called The Destiny of Me, and other great works as well. So yeah, that's kind of mentioned in the play. His brother says, you write movies and novels and plays, and just as Larry did. So, but my God, he's an eloquent writer, and for me to get to speak these incredible words, it makes me much smarter than I am, because the eloquence, the wit, the mischief, the power, the passion that's within what he speaks, and within all every character gets a kind of aria of some sort, a kind of monologue about their point of view. It's just incredible writing, and audiences, as I say, are really taking to it.
And this is early on, before any idea of hope, really, in those early
Mm,
years. No one knew anything about what was going on and what it
mm.
meant. And, homophobia rose at the time. And New York and US was kind of ahead of us here in Sydney. What was that kind of feeling or the vibe in the street, or the vibe that's coming through this play?
Mm.
You're talking about protest and fighting and kind of people getting together. But is there that sort of anxiety and the confusion, and as well, of
Yeah,
course?
all of that's in the play. And also because it's the early 80s when homophobia was rife, it's still rife, but like particularly so in America, then there are big questions about how closeted people should be. Can you protest while you're in the closet? Do you need to be out? How loud should you be? And at the midst of that, there's incredible anxiety, because also the messages weren't clear then about, is it caused by sex? Is safe sex even an option? Do we have to stop having sex completely? And so Ned's character, based on Larry, was very kind of like, it all needs to stop. We need to cool it. And, many queer theorists now say, oh, Larry Kramer was sex negative and he was very anti-sex. But I don't think he was. He was ultimately just like, we just need to park some of our behavior for a while in order to learn more. And certainly, like Australia's response, the great Bill Butel, the wonderful health bureaucrat, and Neil Blewett, our federal health minister at the time, they all went to America and came back and went, oh, let's not do what they're doing there. Let's spread information. Let's educate as much as we can. And people like Bill and Julie Bates, incredible sex worker, and Jane Costello, who runs Positive Life, people like that helped stop transmission in Australia, particularly New South Wales, because they were so front-footed in a way that America hadn't been. So it's really we had a great panel actually with hosted by Michael Woodhouse from ACON last week about all this. So yeah, I think it's really interesting to look at the differences between America and Australia, but also as conservatism rises again, both in America and here too, like we need to be vigilant about these kind of issues.
And you mentioned this, working from the inside or from the outside. Is that about the queer voices and the queer attitudes or ways of responding to it, as opposed to governments coming from the outside and saying, this is what we need to do, or this is what you need to do?
Well, in the play, basically, the government's saying nothing. So, and one of
Saying
Ned's
nothing.
Ned's big things is like, even to Dr. Brookner, he's like, why isn't the hospital doing anything about this? Why they go to the mayor? They go, why isn't Ed Koch, the mayor, doing anything? Why isn't Reagan doing anything? So both government, medical bodies, and the New York Times at the same time refused to run articles about it. It ran very small inside articles while it was running, and this is in the play, front page articles about a Tylenol scare, which killed 7 people, as opposed to, the thousands that were dying from AIDS in those years. So at the base of it is kind of, why do we treat straight plagues or straight epidemics with more uh, speed and focus than we do kind of those that affect marginalized groups. Well, I actually programmed the show in Adelaide when I was State Theatre Company South Australia AD, just coming out of COVID in 2022, because I was like, oh, how interesting. The world got on board really quickly with that one. But with AIDS, they were like, it affects the gays and HIV, IV drug users and sex workers and hemophiliacs. Who cares? So, yeah, it was interesting to look at the difference.
And so, where do we go in here? Do we go into the New York Times? Do we go onto the streets, into the home of Ned? Like
All
all of the above?
All of the above. We go into the offices of the New York Times. We a lot centered in Ned's apartment, where the gay men's health crisis actually began in real life. We go into a basement in the city hall that trying to fight. So it actually goes around New York. Actually, this story, it's in this design. The beautiful Jeremy Allen, wonderful designer, has created basically what's like a really moldy, crusty kind of like meeting room at the bottom of a community center. Everything kind of happens in the midst of that, and we kind of bring on furniture and whatnot. It's such a great design and so evocative and uh, useful as well. And Dean Bryant, our director, who's a beautiful director of both plays and musicals, really knows how to move people and move things around the set. So it flows like a brilliant piece of music theater, but at its core, meanwhile, has this great kind of Arthur Miller, August Wilson power. So you're getting the best of all worlds. Plus, it's really funny too. It's actually a beautiful love story, both about, Ned falls in love with a young writer from the New York Times called Felix. So there's that love story, and it's a story about the love of the friends of in this community too. So it's both a inspiring night, but also a really good night out.
Because it is only those first 4 years. I mean, things didn't really quite start happening for 15, like until
Mm.
the mid to late 90s, 96, 97. So how do you sit in that world knowing, like, is it in that, are we still in that unknown?
Very much so in the play. Like everything's still quite unknown. By the end of the play, we see that research has begun at the National Institute of Health, and things may be possible, but it's too late for some of the characters in the play who who pass away before that begins. So it's very early days, as you say, um, but I think it even makes for a stronger play because we're in a time of where we don't know what's happening. It's not like, oh, here's all the information, we'll just deal. Looking back, we go, oh, people, and there's been such leaps and bounds in kind of preventative sexual health medicine with PrEP and PEP, etc., and early testing, and we've come so far. But it's the stuff of drama where people don't know and people are yelling, people are trying to find out. So it actually makes for incredibly good theatre. So
We live in uncertain times all the time, so it
that's
kind of
it.
is. The other question I was going to ask is it a musical? It's not a musical, is it?
No, no, very much a play. So, but just only in terms of Dean. Dean's worked a lot in music theatre. Like he co assistant director on Priscilla. He's very good at
Yeah.
transitions. So he
Yes, I'm getting this real choreography.
there's
Is it like
real
a
choreography. Yes,
space?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So and it's we've got beautiful, wonderful actors, but who are also incredibly good good movers as well, actually. The wonderful Keenan Lonsdale, star of Dance Academy. He's playing Tommy, a Southern American kind of a Southern bitch, as he calls himself in the show. So it's great to have. He leads us in a dance warm up before the show every night. So that's lots of fun. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because I have to ask, is there some 80s tunes going on during the production as well and
Look,
dancing?
there's a bit of the new order song Bizarre Love Triangle kind of frames the whole action in kind of fun ways, and there's a little bit of a drag moment that spins out of that song. So yeah, so I actually love the pre-show playlist is lots of kind of 80s disco music like Sylvester and whatnot. So when I'm getting ready in my dressing room, I pump the tannoy up really loud. It gets me in the mood. So
Because because it is such a fun time, a fun era as
mm.
well in
Yeah,
dress and music and that kind of
yeah,
flamboyance. So I can just sort
totally.
of see that coming out in this sort of paradox or contrast to
Mm.
something that's so terrible.
Full on, yeah, totally. And I think, I mean, I grew up, I'm 56 now, so I was kind of my late teens, early 20s in the late 80s, early 90s. And we were saying this the other night, like mm, awful as it is that, tragic that I lost many friends to AIDS and HIV. It was an incredible time in Sydney then because a community, and you're talking about it in your podcasts too, like it's the community galvanized around a crisis and went, oh, we need to take action. We need to raise money. We need to have benefit nights. We need to, help with the quilt. We need to organize
Vigils,
candlelight
yeah.
vigils,
Mm.
etc. And I feel very privileged that I was in my teens and 20s when that was all happening because there was such a great sense of community. And, I was super closeted until I was 23 and and being part of a community that said, no, no, we're here. We hold space for you. It's a welcoming world, and actually, you can actually achieve more. Not to say that everybody has to come out, but for me, it was a real journey of that community and what was happening helped inspire me to kind of live a more authentic life.
Because, yeah, at that time, people weren't necessarily coming out. They were still closeted. Your
Mm,
family would abandon you if you did come out, or, there's a
mm.
lot of, and the homophobia is what we talked about. Was there any, like, I guess, was there anything challenging? What were the challenges with this production for you?
Mm. It's challenge. I mean, we only had a very fast re-rehearsal. We only had 2 weeks to re-rehearse it, and we had five new cast members out of a cast of 10. So that was very quick for them. But the challenges are you really it's a challenge and it's a joy. Because it's so huge emotionally. Like there's a lot of tears, there's a lot of pain, and you have to kind of go there every night. So bawling your eyes out 8 times a week. It's hard, but I think it's good for you too because you get a lot of stuff. You get a lot of stuff out as well. So
Oh,
that's fun as well and cathartic, I think, as well.
do you have a trick where you like leave your character and all of those emotions? Do you have a ritual or something that kind of undresses that, for want of a better word?
Oh, I eat some chocolate at the end of every show. I've got a jar of M&Ms on my dressing room.
That sounds
I,
good.
I treat myself to that, and I've been lots of great friends have been coming along to the show as well. So it's been nice to. It's actually lovely doing a show because you get to we're also bad at organising dinners and lunches. But if you say, "I'll come to the show, we'll have a quick drink afterwards," you actually get to catch up with a lot of people. So that shakes me out of the doom and gloom as well. So,
From behind the stage to on the stage, Mitchell Butel, thank you so much. I
oh,
can't wait.
great! I hope you enjoy, Regina, and thanks for having me today. That's great.
Mitchell Butel there, and The Normal Heart is on till the 14th of March. That's the Sydney Opera House Drama Theatre, Sydney Theatre production, a restaging from Adelaide, as Mitchell said.